Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. You're welcome to another Jobberman and Enugu SME Center Facebook Live webinar. We are so glad to have you here. We are so glad to have each and every one of you join us today. Okay, so we will be discussing creativity, generating ideas that work. And this webinar is brought to you by Enugu SME Center and Jobberman. I hope every one of you will learn as much today. I'm so excited because we have so much to talk about today. Okay, so yes, this is brought to you by Enugu SME Center. I've mentioned that. If you're looking to get, if you're looking to have, if you're in Enugu and you're looking for loans or grants or funds, please feel free to reach out to Enugu SME Center. At the end of this webinar, I'll be sharing the contact for Enugu SME Center. Okay, so I will talk briefly and quickly about Jobberman. Okay, Jobberman. Jobberman is the #1 online recruitment platform in Nigeria with over 2 million candidates on our platform and over 60,000 employers. Okay, our goal basically is to connect job seekers, qualified job seekers to employers. Okay, and now the Jobberman Youth Engagement. This event or this webinar is brought to you by Jobberman Youth Engagement in partnership with Enugu. And what is our goal at Jobberman Youth Engagement? We are committed to upskilling 5 million young people and placing 3 million of them in dignified and suitable jobs within the next 5 years. This is really ambitious, right? But hey, we plan to achieve it and we are on the right track. Okay. And what part of what we are doing to achieve this goal is by providing free soft skills training. We currently have a cohort running. We completed the first batch where we trained over 10,000 people just in the month of May alone, May, June. And now we have another 10,000 plus people we are currently training. So I want to encourage those of you who are not part of our training to join. Okay, please feel free to reach out to us. I'll be sharing the contact details at the end of this training so you can join us, and be a part of this training. It's open to people within the ages of 18 and 35 years. Okay, so let's move on quickly. So what do we have for today? What are we going to be talking about today? I'll be going through our webinar outline. So in this Facebook Live session, we have a special guest. I'll read his profile out shortly, and you'll see his details. So I'll be introducing the guest speaker, and also after that, we'll have a presentation by our guest speaker. Then after the presentation, we're going to have a Q&A session. We'll take questions from our participants. Then we'll have a closing, and I'll be sharing some opportunities we have at Jobberman. Okay, so let's move on now. I'll just talk about our guest speaker briefly. Yes, so this is our guest speaker. His name is Chinedum Ucheoma. He is the business and sales manager for Oracle NetSuite. So let me just take a minute or two to read his profile. Chinedum is a strategist propelled by empathy, curiosity, and dissatisfaction with the status quo. He is an experienced professional with a strong progressive history of driving dynamic growth of new and existing businesses, services, and product sales, clients and customer relationship management within emerging and developed markets, and most importantly, increased revenues, profitability, and customer satisfaction. His experience span across operations, sales and marketing, business and management consulting, project management, social media and brand management, training, human resource and people management, software and technology management, having worked in top management consulting and technology firms where his skills were honed and applied. He has also been involved in contributing towards the starting of great ventures and businesses. He is an ideator passionate about people and business growth through digital transformation and the prospect of future IT. He is a firm believer that the human mind has enormous power to achieve anything good it seeks. Okay, so now I'm happy to welcome our guest speaker, Chinedum. You're welcome to this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us, Chinedum.
Thank you very much for the wonderful opportunity. I'm super excited to be part of this webinar today.
Thank you. So the floor is
Thanks a
yours.
lot.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for joining this webinar today. I think it's an exciting Wednesday, and we all understand what's happening around the world, but I always let that not deter us. I'll wait for my slides to come on, and we'll just start off quickly. Yes, you can project them properly now. So just to ask quickly, can everyone actually, can people type in comments, or can I see the comments, or you're the only one that will see the comments? I just wanted to find out. Okay, so I'll just go quickly. I just want to do something very quickly, just get to know. It would be nice to know where most of our listeners are actually listening from. I just need that random information where our listeners are listening from, to just know where we cut across, whether all the cities across Nigeria, where everyone is connecting from and making this event today a huge success. So moving on quickly, I think very key thing here, we're going to be discussing creativity and generating ideas that work. Now, everyone wants to come up with that new idea. What's that main novel thought you have in your mind that you want to be the next big person to do the next big thing? And that's what we're going to be looking at today. And looking at our agenda for today, we'll be trying to capture and trying to understand everything around creativity and ideas, how we can actually hone our creativity, analyzing our ideas before we decide to go live and say, hey, boom, this is what I need to do, whatever I need to do now. And after that, we'll quickly take on some questions. So going quickly, I want to ask us this simple question. Do you find yourself creative? And I want us to use the message box, type in your responses, and I just have very four simple answers there. Yes, no, maybe, or you don't know. Let's just get that straightforward. Do you find yourself creative? Let's just start from that very, very simple place. Do you find yourself creative? I know it's one common thing. Some of us will have those doubts, asking, am I creative? Am I sure I'm creative enough to do what I'm trying to do now? Do I have all the ideas I need or not? What exactly is the plan? But let's ask ourselves this simple question. Do you find yourself creative? Putting those answers there. And those answers will also come very, very handy for us as we keep moving on. Now, looking at creativity and ideas themselves, what exactly is creativity? I think this one big question everyone will keep asking, what exactly is creativity? Who is a creative? What is an idea? How do I stand for saying I'm a creative person or whatever it is? But what's creativity? Creativity is basically a function of our imaginations, thinking out something and saying, hey, this
Oh, it seems we have lost Chinedum there. Network issues. So we'll just give a minute for him to come back. So he was talking about creativity, and I know he mentioned we should put up our location. So I can see some people, putting up their locations there. Rosemary Oyinbo Ademu, watching from Kogi State. Awesome. We are glad to have you here. Please let us know where you're watching us from. That will be very interesting for us to know. Yes, let us know where you're watching us from, please. And if you have your questions regarding this, please feel free to type in your questions in the chat box. And after his presentation, I will be reading out, questions. We'll be taking questions, regarding the topic for today. Okay, creativity and ideas. So while we wait for Chinedum to come back, what is creativity? What is creativity? Can we have some of our participants let us know what they think about creativity, or what their understanding of creativity is? What is your understanding of creativity? I'm in the comment section now, and I'm looking at all the comments dropping in. I can see we have people from Abuja, Lagos, Ibadan, Kano. Yes, you're all welcome. What do you understand about creativity? What do you understand about creativity? So let's just engage while we wait for our speaker to come back online. He's having some network challenges now. So what do we understand about creativity? Creativity and ideas. What does it mean to be creative? That means you're going out of the norm. Okay, you're thinking outside the box. When you're talking about creativity, you're also talking about innovation. Creativity and innovation goes hand in hand. But I would like to see your comments. And if you're in our soft skills training, you should be able to answer this. Do we have people in our soft skills training here? If you're in our soft skills training, say hello, because we have a topic on creativity and idea generation in our soft skills training. Yeah, so if you are in a soft skills training, you should be familiar with this topic. So if you're in a soft skills training, just say hello, and I would like to know those of us. So, I can see people from all over Nigeria here. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, Kaduna, Kano, somebody from London, Chiemeka, Sydney, you're welcome. Okay. Yes, Olamide Ezekiel. Okay, you said creativity means bringing up ideas to do new things. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic answer. Yes, I would love to hear from people who are in our soft skills training. If you're in our soft skills training, please let us know what you understand by creativity. Creative means bringing up ideas that are new and impressive. Thank you very much, Esther. Thank you for that response. Makia Suleiman says creativity, turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. Fantastic. Well done, Makia. I see you. Essay Jasmine says creativity is being able to bring ideas and solution to a problem. Oh, you guys are on fire. All of you in the Jobberman soft skills training. I want to believe you all are in our soft skills training. If you are, please say hello. Oh, Uju, yes, I can see that you are. Well done. Cohort A, Esther is from cohort 8A. Fantastic. Judith says creativity is basically how to put your thoughts together to create valuable content. I love that definition. That is fantastic, and that is true. Putting your thoughts, your resources together to create valuable content. Yes, yes. If you would like to join our soft skills training, please just the link has been sent in the. I can see the link in the chat box. Okay, we have Chinedum back online now.
Back again. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone.
Okay, thank you. So, please go ahead.
Yes, I think technology decided to hit me so hard today. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you, everyone, and thank you for patiently waiting for me. I think it's good to be back. Just taking us quickly back again. So, as I was explaining earlier on, when I was asking the first, do we find ourselves creative? Do we think we're creative enough? And all that. I think one very common thing that's become cliche right now around the world, it's everyone is, you hear things like are you creative? Think outside the box, be innovative, wear your thinking cap, find your creative energy. And this is all happen whenever we're faced with a kind of challenge where we're trying to get a solution for. And all these words keep coming by itself over and over and over again. But from the exercise we did here, where I said everyone to try and pull out and put out some information to show how creative they think they are. This will clearly help us to understand this terminology about creativity. I started talking earlier where I was asking about what creativity exactly is and about ideas. Now, clearly speaking, basically seeing people right now saying I'm a creative, and based on the research that LinkedIn did, I'm a creative became repeatedly used over and over again because everyone wants to identify as a creative person. And you want to ask, why is this so? It's actually simply because every business has realized that creativity is what they need to keep being in vogue in whatever it is they're doing. And everyone wants to make sure that they are part of being a creative person within an organization, adding to those things that organizations actually need to function and to thrive. Creativity in itself, it's just about art. It's one of the most crucial human traits, and it lies in the heart of innovation. Thus, you find out that it's not just a superficial skill, but a very, very key necessity for everyone's survival. Creativity is the use of our imaginations or original ideas to create something new. Now, when you talk about an idea in itself, an idea is basically a thought or a collection of thoughts that we generate from our mind. An idea is usually either generated with intent, where we say, okay, yes, definitely, I want to come up with an idea to solve a problem, or something that just happens unintentionally. That's where it's okay, boom, I had a eureka effect. But whatever it is, an idea definitely comes on when we put our thoughts in doing exactly what we feel it's key for our survival, what we feel is key to get to the next level. You think about it, what exactly is creativity? Moving on to the next slide, I have a very interesting image that I would like to share with us here. And this image is actually very funny. Most of us have seen this picture. It's circulated over social media for so many years or so many times. But something very interesting there, is this creativity? I know it sounds very funny asking, is this creativity? But yes, it's actually creativity. The person in this hole definitely was cold, and all he could think of was using the rungs of the ladder to make fire for warmth. This same ladder is actually an escape tool from that hole. Now, do we say he's creative? That's a very, very tough question for us to actually answer here. But the truth is, he is very creative, but his own creativity is exactly based on how his thoughts handle the moment and what he actually decides to do with it. And this is exactly where our thoughts come into play when it comes to talking about creativity. And moving on, you find that thoughts in their own place are actually things. Thoughts are very, very great things that control every human endeavor. Please, can we go to the next slide? So I have visuals for everyone to see that. So as I mentioned, thoughts are actually very, very strong. Now, it's as a popular saying it's not what you think, but how you actually think. Thoughts are things, we see things most times and we interpret them unconsciously with what we already know. Our minds basically just fill up everything with the rest of the picture. And something quite interesting is that our thoughts are actually so powerful that if we decide to remain on the positive realm, we come up with very, very awesome feedback. Now, we do not see the world the way it is. We basically see the world as our instruments interpret them. And our instruments are about our thoughts, our beliefs, our experiences, our perception. All these things add together to what happens. Albert Einstein said something that's very interesting, saying that imaginations is more important than knowledge. And every knowledge we have come from something we've previously imagined. And the truth is, imagination and thoughts complement each other. So in whatever it is we're striving to do or trying to do to achieve anything, we always have to be in control of our thoughts, because these thoughts are things that will help us grow our knowledge and get to where we're going to. There's a very interesting book I read so many times, so many years ago, and I think it's very interesting that I actually prefer the video. It has a video on Netflix and on YouTube too. It's called The Secret, and it's by Roy Bryan. And I encourage each and every one of us to try and watch this video. And this video tries very much to explain so much on how our thoughts affect everything around us and how it also affects our creative energy. But let's keep going. I will definitely explain some very, very interesting things to us. Now, I'm going to show us a very, very nice puzzle. And this puzzle is actually Most of us have also seen this. And this was actually quite simple. It said, link 9 dots using 4 straight lines or fewer without lifting the pen and without tracing the same line more than once. Now, a very interesting exercise was done with adults and with young people, kids, to get to understand their level of creativity. How much can they withhold themselves within a particular space and choose not to explore things further? And something very interesting actually came up from this. Now, it was found that as adults get older, their creative energy actually reduces. But kids are so wild and wild with the way they keep thinking. And the kids were actually solve this puzzle very, very easily. When we get to the next slide, you actually see the possible outcome of the result people actually came up with when they tried to try and join these things together. Please go to the next slide. Now, this was actually the easiest thing most people would do. You know, you try to go to first line this way and you find out that you're stuck. You see half lines being there, you're not getting exactly what you need. What exactly is happening? No one said that you should stop on the dots. And when we go to the next slide, you see clearly that because our minds basically limited us to what we're drawing, we're basically stuck on trying to work on the dots. But no one told you that you have to stop on the dots. Our minds basically told us we have to stop on these dots. And we refuse not to go further to see what happened. Now, the next slide will show us clearly how this would have been if we decided to go beyond the dots, explore further, trying to connect all the lines that come together to make this happen. Please move to the next slide. I don't know why. I wish I was one controlling this slide. I could flow with my words easily. Now, the next slide now shows us something very interesting. A kindergarten child was able to actually connect this dot with just 3 lines. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this exercise was actually proved clearly that kids were way, way more better understanding how to express their creative energy, trying to find a solution to a problem. That's why you find that when you see kids trying to play with their toys or their Legos, or you give them our phones, and they actually do things with our phones or our tablets or pieces that we couldn't even think of being able to do. And this is one of the creative ways that I find that creativity, it's something that we can actually build, but it takes continuous practice. And as we move forward, I will also show us some of the things we can do to make sure that this works out for us nicely. Now, let's talk about one of the cliche words that we also know very much: think outside the box. I think when I started, I mentioned about people saying, think outside the box, be innovative, use your creative energy. Everyone keeps thinking, think outside the box, think outside the box, think outside the box. What exactly is the box, and what is exactly thinking outside the box? Everyone wants to leave the box. That's the truth. In 2011, I attended an event where Alda spoke, and he gave some very, very nice analysis of what this box is and what can actually help us get off this box and think more creatively. Now, these 3 points here will actually help you decide whether you're going to remain in the box or you're going to get out of the box to actually let your creative juices actually flow nicely. Now, the first point there is say nothing is possible. The next one is something is impossible. And the third one is nothing brings nothing. And I will explain these things for us nicely so we'll get to understand. The words actually sound so complicated. But the first one where you say nothing is impossible, it's very simple. If you think nothing of yourself, there is nothing that will be possible. Because the first thing is that you never even believe that yourself, you can fathom and figure out what's possible. So because you already thought nothing of yourself, nothing will be possible. The next one, which we're talking about, something is impossible. I think this is where most of us actually find ourselves. If you imagine something, come up with your dreams and the nice, lofty ideas and solutions in our heads and do nothing about it at all, it totally brings the impossible. So they will remain wishful thinking, they will remain dreams, they will remain aspirations. We want these things to happen, and we are not actually doing them. Now, the third one, it's nothing brings nothing. This is where he says, you think or do nothing, it brings nothing. So in as much as we're trying so hard to get off the box, we also need to understand what we need to do to get off this box to ensure that our creative energy actually keeps flowing. The biggest obstacle to any growth or innovation that any human being can experience is making excuses. And most times these excuses come where we say, okay, this is difficult. I think somebody else is doing this. I'm thinking of this idea. If this idea was actually valid, somebody else will have actually thought of this idea and done something. Sometimes we just keep dragging our feet and we don't want to move forward with whatever it is. And these are all the issues. I don't have money now. I'm not sure this whatever idea I'm pitching in my head is actually worth it. But when we move further, I'll share some tips that have been proven how we can actually hone our creative skills and the things we can do that will help us and guide us towards being better with creativity. Now, the first thing is this. Problems. So I think before I even get into that place, I'll just try to let us know that everyone can come up with a super idea. And these ideas are just basically by trying to do all the simple things. I think most times what happens to all of us is we want to build a rocket. Yes, we want to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody wants to be that. We want to be the next Dangote. But the truth is we can start from the very, very simple things. And one thing that's so beneficial to us in our climb here in Nigeria, it's we actually have lots of problems that need very, very simple solutions for us to get in to start. It's common to all of us. We experience these things. We get to those points where it's as if we're fed up, we've given up, we don't want to move forward. But these little problems can actually be solved. And sometimes you find that these problems, you find solutions already where there's a concept called hardship innovation, where it is, okay, we're in difficult moments. We need to find a very innovative way through our hardship to make sure this works. But our problems is the first place we're starting from. We have problems around us. What are the problems? We have problems of electricity. That's why people are coming up with the solar systems. We have problems of transporting goods from maybe from the farms to the markets. People are trying to get something around there. We have problems with healthcare. People are trying to get something, but very, very little problems, things around us that we can actually say, okay, this is a problem. How can I solve this problem? And most times we find out that someone has, so I'll use a very, very interesting example. So that's why I asked where everyone is from. Went to, I think that was, I can't remember which year it was, but so many years ago, I went to Enugu. And it was so interesting when I saw Enugu SME from part of this stuff. Went to Enugu and went to this restaurant. It's a very, very local restaurant called Untitled. And one thing that was so interesting there was when they serve you your food, they will serve you with a very big chunk of meat. And initially, I kept on wondering, how do these guys want us to eat this meat? But this guy, one of the guys there did something very interesting. The guy basically came. Someone said, can I get fork and knife? They don't have fork and knife. This guy just basically came and he got a knife and he went straight to your own plate where you had your meat and he helped you dice all the meat together. And everyone was just calling him to come through, come through. Now, it was so weird because what he was doing was something they would have been doing all this while they were operating their business. But he basically took people to complain and say, don't you have fork and knife for me to do this stuff, for them to come up to make this happen? These are very, very simple problems around us that we see that we can solve. Then again is we need to look and listen to things around us. So something again happens is most times we all in Nigeria, we keep saying, if it was in America, America does it this way. It was in a good climate, they do it this way. But there are very, very simple things around us we can actually help and solve. I saw an event the other day where someone started a venture and the venture was very quite simple. What were they doing? They were basically helping people wash their overhead tanks. Simple. People are doing the new ones now where come and help you go to the market and run errands. These are basically things around us. You look, you try to listen and find out what exactly are people complaining about. How can I help solve this situation? Now, one important thing here again is brainstorming. Most times we are scared of sharing our ideas or things that we're thinking with anyone because we're simply scared that our ideas might be stolen or someone will say, this is dumb, it doesn't make sense. But I'll tell you something, ask people questions, ask and ask and ask. Try and critique the idea yourself. Try and ask people, if you can, ask people away from your own circle, because most times you find that people maybe within our own circle think in a very similar way. Ask somebody randomly about how this thing works. I think one very important skill always is ask people that are way younger than you or ask people that are way older than you. What happens is you find that people have different ideas on how they can make things happen. I love looking at little kids so much when they try to solve problems because they solve these problems in very, very honest ways and ways that we never imagined. Now, going to the very interesting one again is mind mapping. Now, mind mapping is something I do a whole lot, and it just helps you bring out the whole creative juices. So I'll just give you a very quick example. So let's say you're trying to fix healthcare. Very simple stuff. What do? Just get a big sheet of paper or a cardboard, and in the middle, put in there the main topic you're trying to talk about. Most times, some people also use that to do maybe a self-awareness, where you put in there, okay, I'm trying to maybe put your name, Chinedum, in the middle. Then you now use arrows and small boxes or circles and keep saying, okay, you put in the middle, let's say you say healthcare. So what do you need in healthcare? Healthcare, okay, what's going to happen here? A doctor is going to be involved, a hospital is going to be involved, a pharmacy is going to be involved. Okay, from the pharmacy, what's going to happen now? How many pharmacies do you need? But with a mind map basically helps you elaborate more from the simple idea you thought about, helping you grow in leaps and bounds with lots of bubbles to explain better what exactly are you trying to think about. So as I mentioned, healthcare, you use healthcare. What are you trying to do? Let's say you're trying to get maybe insurance for old people. Now for old people, how are you going to do this? I'm going to focus on this region. I'm going to focus on region A. How many old people do you have there? You put out there, you get to the next one. You just find out that you keep seeing little ideas coming from all these little bubbles you've created, and before you know it, you're able to fathom something together and get it happen. Now, while you keep doing all these things, don't seek perfection. I think the only thing you need to do is seek improvement. Everyone tries to be perfect. I think all of us use smartphones, or most of us use smartphones, where you see every now and then, either on iOS or on Android, you get an update saying you have a new update. You have a new update. It's simply because these people understand that they need to build an iteration where they don't need to have the full solution once and go a bang. Just basically start with the small one and improve on it every day. So when you even start that small business, that small idea you have, you might not even know what's happening in the end. Most of the big ventures we know don't know what's happening in the end. They basically start now, and as time goes, as demand always happens, they keep growing and growing and growing. And one important thing I always say is write everything down. I had a manager a long time ago, and he said something very interesting. Notepads, never forget. Write everything down. Write everything down. I write things down so much that sometimes I even think I'm crazy, but you find out that months later, years later, you go back to your notepad, or to whether you're going to be using a physical notepad or using maybe your electronic one on your phone, on your PC, you go back there and you see clearly, hey, so I actually thought of something like this. If you don't write these things down, these ideas will fly off your head and you will not even remember what happened at all. So if you can at all times, if you can have a notepad with yourself and a pen, ensure you write things down. Because once you go back to think about them, it becomes easier. Now, to elaborate more again, what most people do again, some people actually go, so I don't want to get into this part because they are so technical, and so some people might actually think, does it make sense? Some people actually prime their thoughts where, okay, you want to think about something, and before you go to bed, you try to think about that thing within the few moments before you sleep, and what happens, so that you basically prime your dream and see whether within your dreams you could dream about those ideas you're thinking about and see how it comes up. Those are way more technical, psychological ways to make it happen. But what we have here are very, very simple ways where you see a problem, you're trying to solve the problem, you look for inspiration around you, ideas are around us every now and then. Our creativity basically looks at what has existed and made it better. We'll brainstorm on them over and over again with people. We use a mind map to elaborate on them more. We'll basically seek the improvements, we write them down, and just like Nike says it, you just do it. Once it's hot, just hit it immediately and just keep doing it. Now, going to the next slide, something there. I love this quote a whole lot. And as I mentioned, it's being inquisitive has nothing wrong with that. Ask questions, keep asking. And this was very simple. I've learned that asking questions isn't a sign of weakness, rather, it demonstrates curiosity, engagement, and intelligence. Ask questions when you're not sure. Ask questions why, what, how, who. Keep asking those questions. Once you ask, people will respond to you. It sounds stupid and dumb. Ask the question. What you need is an answer, because once you leave there, you don't ask this question, you don't know the answer. And the next thing is, again, is please learn one new thing each day. It's so hard, but I try to simplify in a very simple way. So I use my dictionary app on my phone. They have this the Merriam-Webster dictionary on my phone that has this new word for every day. Just click on the new word, you just see a new word there. Now what happens is, most time when you look at this new word, you read about the word, you see something else, you might find out you're Googling stuff, you're reading stuff, but it just keeps getting you to do all those things all over again. I love Wikipedia a lot. Wikipedia, I love their storytelling attribute where they basically use the stories to guide you on what you need to do. Wikipedia also has a random feature where you can click on the random feature and it just pops up a whole new article for you in a different field, a different topic you never knew anything about, whether it's history or science or technology or economics or business, whatever it is. But these are very simple ways we can churn and learn new things. Now, how do we analyze our ideas? I think this is actually where it becomes very, very important for all of us to understand how to analyze our ideas. So we've gone through understanding how we can actually prime our ideas, be creative, get out those juices, and think of something so amazing. Now, you've thought about something that you think is amazing that might change the world. How do you actually go ahead to analyze them and make sure that it's going to bring you the good or the money that you're looking out for? Now, no matter how pretty the idea is, you definitely need to analyze it to be sure that it's worth your time and energy. Some ideas definitely look interesting and nice, but they're not worth pursuing. Some of the other ideas are actually as good as a not-for-profit idea, and some other ones are as good as it's for profit. Most times we have some things that are so interesting that, okay, so awesome, but will it bring money to you? No, it wouldn't bring money to you. What happens? You basically need to analyze them. Now, the first thing we have there is competitive advantage. When I say competitive advantage, you're basically talking about what is it that you're bringing on the table that it's better than what's there. So use a very classic thing. So most, so let's say most states banned Okada. You want to bring something else. Now, when you're bringing something else, how is this better than what was there before? Use a classic thing again. People say, okay, using the styrofoam packs to pack food, it's poisonous. You want to bring something. Anything you're bringing, just make sure that you have a competitive advantage over what is there. Whatever you're trying to change, what is it that, what's the extra good that's coming with that is better than what's there? That's actually how innovation happens. So I'll tell us a little bit of history. There was a period when there were ice harvesters. What they basically do is just go and harvest ice. Back in the 1700s, harvest ice, sell ice for people to keep going and keep moving. And what happened? The revolution period of refrigerators came on board, and everything that had to do with ice harvesters actually, boom, nobody knew anything about ice harvesters. And fridges kept on coming. Right now, we have fridges that don't even leave any frost in within them. The thing is, each new thing has to come with something better. Now, passion. You have this idea, you love the idea. Do you have the zeal, the passion, the desire to actually pursue what it is that you think is a lovely idea you want to move forward with? Do you have the passion? Is it something you want to pursue? If I don't like anything that has to do with figures, why should I try pursuing an idea that has to make me crack my head so much dealing with figures? Let's take, for example, what's my word? Okay, I think the late what I'm trying to remember of this guy that started up the physics cleaning business for toilets and mobile toilets, said shit business, shit money is good money. Now the thing is, if you don't want to get messy, why do you want to get in there? You want to start up, let's say you want to start up a care home. If you're not good with handling young kids or adults or old people, you don't need to get into it. So make sure you have the passion to actually pursue this, because that's the only way you can move forward. Now, what's your market share? Right now, it's very easy. People come up. I think the very common thing that we'll see most times is everyone is trying to sell things on fashion, goods, wares, bags, hair, whatever it is. What exactly is the market share you have in this place? Is it something that once you get in, you know very much that you can control a good chunk of that market within your locality to make things happen? At all times, you always say benchmark the top drivers in this place. Okay, what are they actually doing? Can I basically capture the part of the market that they don't capture and make sure I move forward with? Now, the most important thing is, who are your customers? No matter how awesome your idea is, if there is no one that can pay for it, please, let's move on to the next thing. Because no matter how fantastic it is, if no one can pay for this, it basically means that this idea cannot generate money. Who can pay for it? Most times, people try to use maybe family, friends. The truth is, most times, family and friends will want to buy from us to support us because we're starting a venture. But let's look beyond family and friends. Whatever the idea we have, do we think people can actually easily pay for this because they find value in it? Now, going back to what we said in the very beginning, what is the problem you're trying to solve? What is the problem you're solving? Now, the problem you're solving gets down to understanding, are there going to be customers that are going to pay for this? And what's market share you're going to get? Now, if you're not going to be solving any problem, what you're selling most times might not actually be something that's worth selling. Now, most times there's going to be a good problem or a bad problem. I think there was a research I was reading the other day, found out that more people in the world own mobile phones than people that have accessibility to clean toilets and clean drinking water. But the truth is, the mobile phone is solving the problem. So whatever it is you're doing, just make sure that you're solving the problem. Now, profitability, are you going to make money from this? Now, you can make money now or you make money later. I think what we can see most time within the tech space, it's where you have the startups get funding. The business there is very simple. It's going to be profitable, but within this period, I need to put in lots of money in there to make sure that we can move forward. So if you're very sure that you have enough resources, you can get all the resources you need to put into the venture, into this idea, grow it and start making money, move on with it. If you know that you don't have all that money, maybe the next thing you need to do is try and find the right partners or get an idea that you know that can start helping you make money as is. Entry barrier is also very, very key. Most ventures that have very, very easy barrier of entry, find out most times it basically gets crowded so much. I think this is where we find the whole blue ocean and red ocean strategy. It gets crowded so much. Now, if the entry barrier, it's very easy, it means that so many people will get in there. Sometimes if it's very hard, it means that it's going to be difficult to get in there. But whatever the entry barrier is, just make sure that you have what it takes to get into this sector with your idea, grow on this, and multiply it. Domain knowledge is key. So we're measuring the whole idea. It can be an idea to get up the information you want, the idea you want. It looks so awesome, but you don't actually have domain knowledge to make it work. So again, I think I'll use an example in tech again. I can think about it and say, okay, I'm going to think of something that can make jollof rice and peppered goat meat automatically by itself. Can you code or do whatever it is you need to do to make this happen? This robot you're trying to create, you can't do that. So it basically means that you need to get partners that can actually help you do this development. So at all times, ensure that you have the domain knowledge. What will be your own contribution to this idea generator? Are you going to be running with the sales? Are you going to be doing the negotiations? Are you going to be sourcing the customers? Are you going to be doing the technical work? Whatever it is, but just ensure that you have the domain knowledge. Or most of you might even be basically going to be the leader. You're going to be the one that's going to bring the resources together to make things work. Just make sure you have the right domain knowledge to make it happen. Now, the rate of return is also very, very key. The rate of return, this also goes back to the profitability. How long is it going to take you to keep working on this before you ensure that you start being profitable? And this way, what happens is that you don't burn out so early. You feel comfortable and say, okay, yes, I can actually move on with this, not losing steam, and just make it happen. And I think the next place is trying to close this very, very nicely. We'll talk about opportunities. Opportunities. Can you go to the next slide? I have a very interesting image that I love so much. I use the image a whole lot, and this basically says something very simple. They are optimists, pessimists, and realists. While you all were busy arguing whether the glass was half full or half empty, I drank it all sincerely. The opportunist. Now, we're not talking about the opportunity in the bad way. We're talking about taking every opportunity as they come by. For all of us that are ideators that want to come up with nice creative ideas for the next business, most time we don't even have the money. Basically, need people that will put in money for us to do whatever we need to do. One key important thing I'll say is have your elevator pitch ready. Your elevator pitch, it's what you need 100%. Elevator pitch is very simple. It's very something saying, okay, clearly, what is that stuff? So elevator. So when you're going to an elevator and you're trying to, let's say, you're going from the 10th floor to the ground floor, give or take maybe 1 minute or 60, 90 seconds. Elevator pitch is basically those quick words that you can tell anyone in a very concise manner what your idea is, what value you're bringing on board, and the problem you're trying to solve, and what you want them to do for you. At all times, make this happen. I had a very, very interesting situation yesterday. I called one of the directors where I work for something else entirely. And this guy just put me in the corner, started asking me questions that I needed to prepare to do them. But the truth was that because I've done them before, it was very easy for me to actually bring them forward and speed that fire. when we're coming with those ideas, I think it will be very, very unfortunate for we to run into someone that we think it's a blessing, and we tell the person, okay, I think I need to go back and get my PC to get this to work. I think I need to go back and get this to make it to work. Make sure that you have everything you need to make it work. Opportunity, it's one thing that all of us have to make it to work. I think there's one very nice equation I love so much. It said your idea plus CFC. CFC basically means combination of favorable conditions will make your opportunity come to reality. Your ideas, they are valid, you love them, but if you don't have that combination of favorable conditions, it will not become the real thing you want to make it happen. So at all times, let's ensure that we get ready. The thing we call luck is basically people being ready. We get ready to embrace any opportunity that comes to us. This way, our ideas will definitely come to life. Thank you very much, and now nicely take questions. Yes, you could get across to me on any platform you want here, whether you're doing LinkedIn or I think I'm on social media, so anyone here works for me. I can communicate with anyone. But yes, I would nicely want to take your questions, comments, and yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chinedum. That was amazing. I've just been taking notes and noting questions as well. Thank you so much. I have a few questions here which I would like to share, and I also have my colleagues in the comment section scouting for. I'm just trying to glance through, scouting for questions for you as well. Okay, so while we wait for more questions, I have some questions I've penned here. What are the biggest barriers to creativity? What kills creativity?
Okay, so I think the first thing I would say is this. It's so as I mentioned when you were in my profile, I believe the human mind can do anything they want to do. So most times we are actually the first people that limit ourselves. If you tell yourself, I don't think I can do this, everything you're doing basically revolves around the thought you had saying you cannot do this. So the first thing is your own self. Are you willing to make this happen? When you say yes, I'm willing to make this happen, then everything is easy. So now most of us need right creative spaces. So most time you find that some people, they need their alone time to do something. Some people need to get into a place that's private. Some people will tell you they need to take some substances to be better. But at all times, understand by your own self, you don't need any negativity around you. You don't need anything that troubles your mind. See, if you're broke, you don't have food in your stomach, you don't know what to eat, truth is going to be very difficult for you to think about how you can actually solve a solution. Unless, okay, I don't have food, fine, but right now I need to think about what to eat, and you do that. So first thing I would say is open up your mind, tell yourself, I can do this. I'm an advocate of positivity. So the first thing I would say is the limit is our own selves. We are the people that decide whether we want to make progress or not.
Thank you so much. I mean, that is explicit. And I also love the fact you mentioned having your elevator pitch ready. Many people underestimate the power of having, an elevator pitch, just being prepared, to be the opportunist, so that any opportunity you have, you can take advantage of that. Okay, so I have a question from Ifeanyi Azubike. It says, what's the distinction between creativity and innovation?
Okay. So when it comes to creativity is basically talking about your let's say you're conceiving new ideas, you're opening up something that was never there before. Now, most times, both of them actually rub off each other. So creativity in itself is you're trying to get something that wasn't there before. Then when you come to innovation somehow it's something that I think I'll use the word you can measure innovation. So when I say you can measure it, what I'm looking at here is this. So let's take very simple. You have a car. This car speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. What do you want to do? You want to make sure that it can run faster to 120 kilometers per hour. What do we need to do to the engine to make it run better? Now, what happens is this. You're trying to innovate this. You know where you're going to from here to here. For you to actually innovate, creativity actually has to come, because you need to start thinking, what do I need to do for me to achieve this innovation I need here. Now, that creativity might be a case of, okay, we actually think that the weight of this car is too much. We need to change this part that are metal to plastic to make it lighter. So most times, both of them actually happen like very, very close to each other. But the truth is, creativity, it's like a wild imagination. You're trying to think of something new. Innovation in itself is basically trying to change something from point A to point B and make it better.
Thank you for that distinction. Some people, use it interchangeably, but there's actually a clear difference between creativity and innovation. Okay, so I can see another question here. Is creativity an acquired skill, or do people get born with creativity? Are people born with creativity?
Okay, perfect. Now, I think I'll go back a little bit again. It's a little bit of psychology. So there's this issue of right brain and left brain. Issue of right brain and left brain. People saying, okay, the right brain think in creative way. They think in colors, pictures, and all that. The left brain are more calculative. They think in numbers, analytical, and technical and mechanical. But the truth is, some people naturally will sound as creative. But at the same time, we can actually learn the skill where you, by your own self, okay, I'm not, so let's put it this way, I can't fall into this place readily, but I can actually condition myself to think about these things the way it is by following the methodologies of trying to be creative. For some other people, once you ask them a question, they'll give you the answer because that's the way their brains function. For other people, they basically need to relax, think through it nicely, and get into it. So creativity is something that we all can actually learn, but it doesn't change the fact that some people already have it quickly and inherent in them to act on it quickly and make it happen. And while other people need a little bit of time to think through it to make it happen.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. I think we can still take, I can see some more questions coming up.
Yes, please.
Yes. What suggestions do you have for those in the category of I don't know if I am creative with regards to the question you asked when you started?
Okay, so now I think that also gets back to the issue of self. Truth is, no one actually wants to accept clearly that they are good. Most times we hear that we are good from other people, and we all try to be humble and not to be egoistic, accepting that we are good or we're not good. But the thing is, when we look at things around us, things that we do, we solve problems, we think of ideas, people come to us for their own challenges, and we help them think about them. So what I'll basically say is this: it's basically go through the self-awareness cycle. Now, another thing I always advise people is I did something called the MBTI psychometric analysis, where you basically try to understand your own self. Who are you? So this basically has the way you have the extrovert, introvert, judgmental, temperamental, and all those things. Now, what it does is when you understand where you fall in, it becomes easier for you to understand how can I actually channel my own creative energy to become better. So everyone has a best virtue in them. The only challenge we have is how do we actually harness them? And this is actually where you see they are good leaders. People say they are good leaders, they're bad leaders. There are some leaders you work with, and you will never believe the kind of potential you have, simply because these leaders are able to get out the best in you. Some other ones can actually do that. So I think the first thing is understand. I think it's a very popular so man, know thyself. Is a very so you think you're not creative, but you're creative. And I'll tell you very simple ways. All of us face problems. How do you solve those problems? There are periods in the month that you're broke. How do you get to manage the little money you have to solve the problem? There are periods you're in a big situation and you think of ways to make it happen. But simply because you're not building a rocket or you're not being able to sew clothes by yourself, it basically changes the whole scenario. But everyone has that creative element to them.
Certainly. So you need to know I like the fact you mentioned self-awareness, That's one of the topics we teach in our soft skills training. You need to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your limitations, and all that. Okay. Yeah, so let's go to the next question. I am currently a youth corper, will be done 7th this October, and I'm also a fashion designer. At the beginning of this year, I plan going into the tech field, and I have gone by doing some online courses. I'm currently enrolled for my programming class. My main goal is to get a job immediately when I'm done with service. My problem now is that I am getting kind of broke really while pursuing this, and I'm thinking of going back to fashion now. I'm just confused and frustrated. Is this the best time to go into fashion business or stick to my goal?
Okay. This sounded so much like me. So I think I did this whole research trying to understand it, and I came across a word called a multi-potentialite. And one thing I will tell you for sure is this: don't ditch any of these ideas you have. Don't ditch any of them. Basically, control the amount of energy you put into each of them, and ensure that, okay, if I'm going to dedicate 2 hours to this, I'm going to dedicate 3 hours to this one. Don't ditch anyone. What happens is that later on in the future, you find out that because you didn't ditch this, there was something you learned from there, or there was something that is going to bring for you. Don't ditch anyone. See, I know people that work full-time jobs, they are cooks, and they sell food, and they also do private tutoring to people that want to learn. It's because they've been able to manage all those things. So I'll basically tell you, yes, the concern about being broke trying to get the money might be a concern. So what you can basically do is, okay, what are the things I can focus on that don't need all the money for now? And when I keep doing them and I get some money, I start doing those things. Most times, some of us actually work jobs that we don't love simply because we want to generate funds to go back to the things that we love, that we want to keep doing. So one thing I'll tell you, don't ditch anyone, but start with trying to understand which of these things actually interest you the most. What do you prefer most? See, most times we love the money, that's the truth, but we don't love what we're doing. And sometimes because we love the money, we end up loving what we're doing. So it's a two-way stop, but don't ditch any of these ideas. Manage your time allocation and the resources you allocate to each one. Because from what you said there, it sounds very clearly that you love the two things you want to do. You're basically faced with the issue of finances and you don't know where to stick to. So if the finance, the fashion is going to help you bring some of the money you need to learn your programming and your coding, go for it. Who said you can't finally decide to code a robot that actually makes clothes for people?
True.
That's the truth. So just don't ditch anyone.
Yeah, thank you for that. We're running out of time, but I think I will just take two more questions before we go. Okay, so the second to the last question is, when stuck and having creative blocks, how do one get out of that block?
Just have fun, man. have fun. There are times you try to think about it, it doesn't work. Have fun, or sometimes, again, what we actually need is somebody to bounce it off on. We're trying to think about it ourselves. It doesn't work. Meet someone else. There's something that I do most times. I'm trying to reply an email. I send an email. After sending it, the email doesn't look okay to you. You just call any of your colleagues or your friends and forward the email and tell them what you're trying to write. They'll help you do that. So you can have fun, come back to it again, or basically find someone you trust that you can talk this through with. Most times, because we are the ones thinking about this, we don't see beyond something because that's where our mind has already put the whole blocks around. So when you're stuck this way, you can just relax, do something else, and come back to it. It's not compulsory that you must sort out the problem immediately. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, when I talked about brainstorming, that's actually where brainstorming comes in here. Ask people questions. Talk to people about it. Tell people what you're trying to achieve. Let them give you feedback. So as I mentioned, have fun, relax, come back to it, then talk to people about it. Let them give you feedback. You can basically talk to people that already know this stuff already, and they'll basically tell you the route you're going is actually the very wrong route. Don't do this. Just why are you trying to reinvent the wheel when the solution is there already? So relax, come back to it, talk to people, and get more information from them.
Okay, so I think this will be our last question. I think you've treated this in a way. How do one know he or she is creative? Well, maybe you can just recap on that. How do you know if you're creative? How do one know if he or she is creative?
Okay, so the question I ask is how often do you find yourself solving problems or people coming to you with their challenges and you always prefer solution to them? think that's one very simple way you find out. Do you get stuck most times and find out that you're able to get yourself out of it? Do you find better ways of doing things? I think I always get back to the very beginning. Don't think you cannot do it. Because most times you can be in an audience, they'll ask a question, you just tell yourself you can't do it. But if they ask those questions compulsorily, you just raise your hand and answer, and you find out that you got the right thing. So, first of all, as I mentioned, try to understand yourself and check around, as I mentioned, how easily do you think people rely on you to solve some of their problems? It can be any kind of problem. Some people just want to talk to you about whatever challenge they have. And it's simply because of what they saw in you. That's why they're coming forward to you. You might not even be seeing that in your own self.
Thank you so much. I think that's a fantastic note to close to end this conversation. I can still see a number of questions there, but unfortunately, we are running out of time. And what we'll try to do is we'll try to answer your questions in the comment section. Okay, I'll have some of my colleagues who will go in there and answer the remaining questions. Thank you so much, Chinedum, for for joining us. We are really happy to have you, and we hope you will also accept our invitation again if we call on you to give us a part two of this conversation. Thank you so much. Thank
you very much.
Yeah,
and have a great day ahead. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
And anyone can reach out through LinkedIn or Facebook for any additional questions, and I'm glad to assist with that.
Awesome. Okay.
Right,
if you could type your handles in the comments in the chat section. I don't know if you could do that so people can follow reach out to you and connect with you. That would be good.
Okay, let me type in. I think okay, I showed up the last slide then. So I think on my name Chinedum Ucheoma, you can Facebook, LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'll just type it in there. I think Facebook, LinkedIn, any social media is fine. It's the same name, it just goes around.
Okay. So I will just go on with our announcements. We have some announcements. Thank you, Chinedum, once again. Okay, so yes, I will just quickly run through some announcements that we have. That was an interesting session, and I really hope everyone got to learn. Okay, so Jobberman announcement. Yes, we Enugu SME Center has a business challenge. So if you have if you need microphones to start or improve your business, please reach out to Enugu's SME Center. They are there to support you. If you live in Enugu, you're resident in Enugu, please reach out to our partners, for this webinar, and they will be happy to hear you out. Okay. And certainly this is brought to you by Enugu SME Center and Jobberman. There's also a monthly business boost challenge going on at Enugu SME Center. Please take part in that. Okay, so if you want to sign up on Jobberman, I've been seeing some comments. I need a job. I'm looking for a job. Hey, we've got loads and loads of jobs on the Jobberman platform, but you can only access these jobs if you are signed up on Jobberman. Please take note of this link: www.jobberman.com/customer/sign-up. So please sign up on Jobberman, create a profile, and you can have free unlimited access to all the jobs we have on our platform. Okay, and then I would also just go through some job opportunities we have. This is just a few of the opportunities we have. We have Cornerstone looking for virtual agents nationwide. So if you live in Enugu, you live in Lagos, anywhere you live in, in Nigeria, you can, be a part of this. It's a virtual job, it's a remote job. So you can be a virtual agent for Cornerstone from any part of Nigeria. We also have opportunity with Novatia translators. Same with Cornerstone is a virtual job. You can do this from anywhere. It's not a full-time job, it's a remote job. Same with the Verify Me. Okay, if you can be a Verify Me address verification agents. So these are virtual jobs. And guess what? This is the future of work. Okay, you can work remotely, work anywhere, any part of the world. You can be, if you're anywhere in Nigeria, you can do this job, or even in any part of the world, quite honestly, maybe except for the address verification. But you can do this. Novation translators, for instance, they're looking for people who can speak different languages, local languages, foreign languages. So if you're good with any of these languages, please sign up, and get and have access to these opportunities. Okay, so now I'll be talking about a virtual career fair. We have a virtual career fair coming up, and this promises to be the largest virtual career fair in Africa. Take my word for it. However, what is the ticket? The ticket is you must have concluded the Jobberman soft skills training. Okay, so that is the criteria to be a part of this virtual career fair. If you have not completed the soft skills training and you have not taken the post assessment, you will not be able to be a part of this virtual career fair. So please hurry up. Make sure you sign up. I know my colleagues have been putting the link to the soft skills training. I can see the links in the chat box. So please make sure you sign up, take the soft skills training, and most importantly, make sure you do the post assessment and get a certificate. And guess what? The soft skills training is free. It is free, completely free. Again, to learn about effective communication. We talked about creativity today, and that is one of our models: creativity and idea generation, critical thinking, emotional intelligence. We have business ethics, employability skills, and interview tips. I mean, it's a rich curriculum. So please make sure you take part in the soft skills training if you want to be a part of this virtual career fair, where we bring different employers in one place online. Okay. So after, we also have opportunity for employers. Perhaps we may have one or two employers among us here. We have free job listings. If you're looking for qualified candidates, please feel free to reach out to us at connect@jobberman.com. We'll put up free listings for you. And these are the different channels which you can reach out to us. That's the youth engagement website. This is the email address, connect@jobberman.com. If you want to be a part of the soft skills training, or if you have job opportunities that you want to put up on Jobberman for free, for free basic listings, please feel free to reach out to us at connect@jobberman.com. Reach out to us on our social media pages: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Okay, so this has been an interesting period. I'm glad you guys took make good use of your day, to join us for this training. My name is Chidinma Iheanacho, and I'm glad to be the host for today's event. So I look forward to, having everyone again in our next webinar. Please watch this space. We have so many wonderful events lined up where we engage you. We bring thought leaders who will come and share experiences on various topics. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of this program, and thank you again to our partners, Enugu SME Center, for partnering with us to bring this webinar to life. Thank you once again. Do have a good day. Bye, everyone.